That's a tough question. I mean, the stats were very, very close, but I think off the bat, of the surprise factor and how impressive the teams have been, I think Indonesia for sure is a favorite. But of course, we all like a comeback story, an underdog story, and Cambodia can serve as that dark horse of the tournament as we go straight into that banning phase. Joy for sure won't be making an appearance, but what else we ban away? We see that both teams have a lot of flexibility, so usually we see some Kajas getting banned out. We see now several mages as well, very dynamic.
You can see here, Cambodia with the second pick with the red side. They are going to try their best to, I think, ban that Joy out. But Indonesia, knowing that Cambodia has played this Leomord yesterday and was absolutely lethal on it, they decide to ban the Leomord, take it out of Cambodia's hands. But Cambodia is already going for a very interesting strat. Since that game where Deja absolutely popped off, we've always seen that the red side has banned the Joy instantly. Cambodia's left that open for now. Is this hinting at a fact that maybe Cambodia, they were able to utilize it really well. Maybe they're able to counter it as well.
Perhaps. I mean, for now, we don't really have a solid, a very effective counter. So we'll have to see. They have banned away that Fanny because it's a signature pick for Taz on the side of Indonesia. But for the Indonesians, they have banned away that Diggy as well. This is a very common strategy these days. Pick or ban it. And for Indonesia, the fact that they have banned away is very secure, this very good utility to fight against crowd control. You can expect some aggression, some engages, some pickoffs from the side of Indonesia as Cambodia will deny that Valentina pick.
Still, that thought is lingering over. Joy, who is it going to be let go here by Cambodia? Again, the team that utilized the Joy really well. So they should understand how much of a threat the Joy is, especially on the hands of these mechanical players from Indonesia, right? But that's the question I actually just want to ask for Cambodia right now. Is it because they know how to counter it? Because we've been, talking a lot about this. We've been having discussions about how to counter the Joy lockdown heroes. But Todak tried that. They tried the Franco with the Minsathar. 2 lockdown heroes, and it did something, but it did not do enough to shut the Joy down.
Nowhere near enough, and I think that's the main problem. You may be able to counter it, but at what cost? If it's too difficult, if it's too costly for your team, you might as well don't do it. It doesn't really make sense. It's not a value kind of decision. So we'll have to see. This is the final ban, and this will tell. Will the Joy make an appearance? And if it's up there, will Indonesia insta-pick it? Or will they actually brave the odds and go for something more of their comfort? It all lingers in the decision of Cambodia. Now it's a bit intense, Mirko.
Wanwan is up for grabs. The Joy as well. I think at this point, Cambodia, they need to double down. Don't ban the Joy, go for a trade. Because if they do ban the Joy, it gives over that Wanwan towards Brands. We saw how lethal he was on that Wanwan. But Cambodia, they're playing with fire here. Banning out the Akai, leaving Joy, Kaja, Wanwan, all up for grabs. And this might be a bait. Cambodia, they can give that Joy over to Indonesia. A hero that many people have said can counter the Joy is that Kaja, bringing this Joy back with the Divine Judgment, locking her down with the suppression as well, but the Joy will still be the first pick for Indonesia. And Cambodia now has the opportunity to go for that Kaja and that Wanwan.
The Kaja and the Wanwan for a bit more kiting. We did see that when Cambodia was going up against... Pardon me, I don't really remember right now at this moment, but when they were actually using this Joy as well, they banned away the Wanwan, knowing that with the counter to mobility is usually more mobility as well. They have secured it, and in the hands of OP, in that essentially slightly reduced gold funnel situation, OP can actually use this Wanwan very effectively. But Indonesia is hovering on that gourd.
Whoa!
I think this is a joke. I don't think this is going to happen.
Is it though? We've seen a lot, and we've been, sometimes they actually do pick this up. Last time I think Gourd was picked up, it was a long time ago. I think it was MP Lighty Season 7.
A different lifetime ago.
A different lifetime, a different time. But now, the Joy. When it was on the hands of Deja, it was played in the mid lane. It wasn't played in the jungle. Right now, Indonesia, they do have the chance to actually flex this pick over to the jungle. I've seen some of my friends try it out. They will go and opt for the Yves and the Lolita instead of the Gourd. Pretty wise choice in the first game up against Cambodia in a best of 3. as Lolita provides such good cover for the other members against the 1-1, whether it's from the crossbow tang or just from preventing the weakness points from the get-go. And obviously the Eve becomes a solid hero to face off up against the 1-1. That matchup is pretty beneficial for the Eve, but Cambodia has that KAMBOJA, right? So Indonesia needs to be very careful.
Especially with their backline members, unless it's a Joy, of course, because that kit has a lot of safety and security. For the side of Indonesia, though, having that Yve, we talked about utility, and now with the current changes, Yve isn't locked down only to being effective with the real-world manipulation. She can actually have a lot more impact with the other skills as well. And when you can slow down that 1-1, maybe that is how they plan on catching the 1-1 as well. The Martyrs, though, has been picked up by Cambodia, so they are setting up for a very, very oppressive early game.
Carmilla banned out Rashi, and now Cambodia are going to go for the first ban in the second phase. They've opted to go for the Martyrs. This is a very heavy dive/pick composition from Cambodia, just looking to scatter Indonesia's composition, their formation as well in these team fights, because it seems like it's the opposite. Indonesia are trying their best to form a front-to-back composition that really wants to, well, yeah, play front-to-back. That's it, you know, play around their frontliners, around their backliners. Yu Zong, though, is going to be banned out. Cambodia setting up for a pretty vulnerable mage, I believe, with that Yu Zong ban, because currently they do have 3 somewhat divey heroes, right?
Yeah, it's interesting right now because for Cambodia, if they are afraid of a dive, they're going to pair a long-range mage along with a Martyrs, KAMBOJA, and 1-1. It doesn't really make sense on paper, but of course, when it comes to Cambodia, they usually have something just hidden up their sleeve, man. They were the ones coming out with that Joy pick as well, so we'll have to see from Indonesia what will be their response. They want to make sure that they don't get dove in the backline as well. They have the Lolita to deter any kind of massive dive. So I guess what they need right now is some DPS, making sure that the Martyrs cannot just overpower and just run into them, but they will ban away that Faramis instead.
See, that's why I was kind of confused with the ban towards Yu Zong, right, for Cambodia. It definitely sets up for a mage like Farsa to come through for Cambodia, but I would have expected that Yu Zong ban to come from Indonesia with the Yve, with already somewhat of a front-to-back composition. But I think at this point, Cambodia really needs to stop brands from doing something, right? And on the 1-1, you want to just ban the Irithel. Irithel just becomes such a good pick up against the 1-1, but the Leslie actually gets banned out, leaving the Irithel up for grabs for Indonesia, which is interesting.
I think we see a similar quote-unquote tactic used by the Philippines, having a Yve and an Irithel against the 1-1. We saw it, I think, in game number 1 in the earlier match, and it makes a lot of sense. I think Leslie has a lot of damage, and that is dangerous for the Martyrs, for the tankier frontline members, but having an Irithel, as you mentioned, Mirko, counters that 1-1, and in the late game, if Cambodia is really going hard for an engage, the mobility coming in from an Irithel that can just hit while moving, right, will be a huge advantage to the kite game. And looking at Indonesia right now, with a Yve, it's going to be very difficult to run away or towards the Indonesian side.
I think at this point, Indonesia needs to choose whether they want to ban out the mid lane or that XP lane. They decide to go for a Lunox ban, which is interesting, but it does signify again that Indonesia might want to go for a sustainable XP laner, a Uranus and Esmeralda.
Fredrin?
I think the Uranus becomes a solid choice up against the 1-1. You're really good at sustaining even up against that crossbow of Tang. But Cambodia here, it's their chance to pick first here. First pick over to Cambodia in the second phase. Ooh, hovering over a lot of very interesting heroes, but I do believe...
all the choices.
All the choices, yeah. I think the Lapu makes a lot of sense, but if they really want to try to lock that Joy down, the Jawhead's alright. I mean, we haven't seen it so far. Technically, your Unstoppable Force does follow through on every single dash, right? It can really follow you in. But they will decide to go for the safer option. You know, Jawhead in the XP lane may be a bit too aggressive, especially considering that they don't know who that Jawhead's going to be laning up against. So they go for the safer pick right now, and Indonesia can respond with an XP laner like, well, you know, it's Psychots. Paquito, Benedetta. These are the 2 heroes he's known for back in the MDL.
I think Paquito was the option that the Philippines opted for eventually in the hands of Papadap. Dap. Okay. Some character development from Mirko right here. But the Paquito with the knockout strikes can be a big problem for Cambodia if they are trying to funnel in to pile up that follow-up.
Yep.
It will be the Benedetta having that electric final blow with the Petrify combo. And of course, Brands on that Melissa yet again. We have seen how slippery he can be with that getaway. And now for Cambodia, one final pick. I think crowd control is definitely something they want to go for. And some range will be very, very beneficial because they're up against so much range right now.
Forget slippery, man. When I think of Brands as Melissa, I think just sustain, because at one point up against Philippines, he was standing still. He was just hitting. He just found that opportunity, found that open space to actually go for that Inspire. And that's what you can expect from Brands. He likes to make these crazy plays happen. It doesn't matter that he dies sometimes, as long as he dishes out enough damage for his team to be enabled. But Cambodia now, ooh.
All right.
That's a solid pickup for Cambodia. Now, this is pretty scary for both teams. I think for the draft, this is... For me, I think both teams have drafted themselves a really solid composition. It's just gonna come down to the execution.
I would agree, but I think considering the fact that Cambodia is so CC reliant and Indonesia has a hero that is notorious for just ignoring, shrugging off crowd control, I think they have a slight advantage, although it does seem like Taz will be the one piloting that Joy, and that
Two position. Will it be Indonesia or will it be Cambodia as we jump into the land of dawn for game number 1?
getting straight into it, and already you see a lot of emphasis in the mid lane. Wave pressure is also a big factor, especially if you want to be active in the early game. You want to get those pickoffs. It all starts with the lane. If you can push earlier, you can rotate faster and set up for those very interesting skirmishes. Although for now, we have to contend with a pause.
Well, this does give us a little bit more time to actually, dissect the draft a bit, right, Arashi? So the first game of the upper bracket finals.
It's been a short delay, but here we are. Finally, we are back into the game. Thanks for waiting, ladies and gentlemen. As we can see right now, both teams still being very, very aggressive. And as predicted, the mid lane, there's just so much action here, and Psycuts wants a part of the action.
Well, we'll see once again. Again, very sorry for the short delay. There was reports of an earthquake here in Indonesia. So we are going to be resuming. Again, we were just making sure nothing was going on. Everything's all safe to go.
Safety is #1 priority.
Exactly, but now you can already see a very aggressive movement from the side of Dreams. Going to be taken down by Impunity. This roster from Cambodia. Team Cambodia strikes first in game #1 with first blood.
The Kadira, man, is just so dangerous. And the playmaking is just very subtle. The spells from this Kadira isn't exactly that flashy, so you really need to pay attention. Otherwise, Deja is going to have a great time here, and he is on that mid lane Kadira, so that's a lot more damage to think about.
Here early on, you can already see as well that Brands is having a bit of trouble here, even though he is actually utilizing that turret really well to get the favorable trade up against the 1-1. This matchup, though, I do want to talk a little bit about it. The turtle has spawned in Arashi, who has the lead here, who has the advantage.
I think it's quite balanced, but Cambodia, they have a lot more tools to begin fights, so I think the Indonesians need to be very, very careful, and now it begins.
Numenal Blast comes in, and that's going to be taken down. The Petrify as well with the final blow as the backline will be targeted by Boom. Hijime with the flicker to get out to safety, but that's the retribution by Taz as he goes absolutely massive, dealing a whole lot of damage, picking up a kill as well. Boom melted down, forced the flicker out, and Indonesia comes back, secures the turtle, and 2 kills.
I wish I can say I was surprised, but look at how oppressive this Joy is. A lot of damage, a lot of survivability. At the end of the fight, Taz had almost half his HP bar worth of shields, and that is something that in this early game Cambodia cannot deal with. They simply just don't have the items, the damage to deal with it, and this is why it's so annoying to have this Joy on the opposing side, and they need to be more proactive here, because if Indonesia are the ones engaging the fight, like now you can see, it's just very, very dangerous, and they are risking getting picked off.
The rhythm of Joy and the electrifying beats, it does so much damage. It's
nasty combo.
Nasty combo, and on top of that, nasty mobility. He is untargetable practically when she is using that rhythm of Joy. But
5 jumps essentially, I think.
Yeah, 4 or 5 jumps. If you keep on resetting it, if you play with the rhythm as well, you deal more damage with the passive. But there is another pause, it seems, that is going to be initiated from Cambodia right now. As you'll see what is wrong. Again, please be patient with us, ladies and gentlemen. there is, I think, a technical issue again.
We want to make sure that the game runs as intended. Nothing just sways the balance in anyone's favor. But for now, very interestingly enough, it's the matchup here between...
Well, we're going to jump in back to the game as the game has been resumed by Cambodia and Indonesia. Again, 3 minutes in, there is a 1,000 gold lead currently for Indonesia. Both teams are playing it relatively passive here as Taz jumps in once again with the Rhythm of Joy. Jumps in as well, using the electrifying beats. Doesn't get the gold buff though.
That's a fancy beat actually that comes up when you use that ultimate. But Taz is just all across the map, trying to get the gangs up, getting that farm as well. I think the mid game is where both teams have the resources to try and start just turning up the aggression and starting to attempt to at least snowball or maybe perhaps just get objective advantages, because both teams have shown that they have that macro knowledge, and I think with that makes the team fights just that much trickier depending on what mutual objective is on the map.
Good read by Brands here, as we mentioned. Strong side towards that gold lane for Cambodia. Taz again with the Rhythm of Joy just being such a nuisance. Lutu still able to get out on the Martis anti-CC, but it is just going to be Indonesia who takes the turtle for free, as Cambodia has opted to actually play around that gold lane. Opie finding a solo kill up against Brands, and T and Deja are waiting patiently for Taz to step in. He jumps in, gets caught in Divine Judgment, and that's the burst we mentioned, Arashi. The Petrify as well, but Taz is still able to survive. Jumps in with the Rhythm of Joy once, twice, 3 times, and that's the 4th with the electrifying beats, dealing as much damage as possible. Deja gets taken out by Dreams. So much shielding for the Joy, Arashi.
Taz with the Joy. Yes, there's a lot of shielding here, but even before that, in the initial CC lock, he was able to survive from that without a vengeance. So that is very interesting. I really thought that it was over for him right there, but he was able to survive with a sliver of HP, and that is all you need on this hero. You need to seal the deal before there's any counterplay. Otherwise, it's an absolute disaster. And for Cambodia, now they're on the back foot for sure. Indonesia will try and use this lead, this control, and get those nasty pickoffs of their own, or even a big combo, unless Cambodia can do something surprising, like the trap in the purple buff. It was a very great attempt.
6 minutes in now, it's still a 1,000 gold lead. I feel like Cambodia, even though they've been behind, they've been losing a lot in these skirmishes, they're still keeping level head. They're really farming well, and they're trying their best to minimize that gold lead. Meanwhile, Boom actually gets a solo kill on Psychots. Deja will fall as well. It's 1-for-1 as Taz is looking for an engage. It's the conceal by T to help his gold laner OP get out. Dreams, though, going to be brought back for Divine Judgment. That's the shield coming up, and that's going to be OP who's looking for all the shield. That's the crossbow tang popped up. It's going to be Dreams who gets taken down, but it's going to be traded back in as OP will fall to the hands of Brands. That's again Taz doing so much damage with the electrifying beats. Popping that sick beat, my man.
On the sick beat, but losing the mid turret in the process. That is a very good rotation from Lutu. But you can see that the rotation game very much favors Indonesia. They're always one step ahead due to that wave clear advantage, but somehow, some way, Cambodia, they've been staying in their lanes, and eventually they are having a turret advantage, although now Indonesia has a chance to actually use that time to go for the neutral objectives.
Cambodia are so good at looking for these crazy pickoffs almost everywhere on the map, but they're opting again to put most of their resources to play around OP. 2-0 stat line currently, still the same stat line as Brands, but again, they are already getting that push control around the topside river. Indonesia rotating with a similar pattern towards that top side. Lutu trying his best to just open up the map, and both teams will not decide to go in just yet.
Ooh, they're going for the gold buff though, but it seems to be just a small trade going on, unless Dreams goes into the bush.
Uh-oh, that's going to be Dreams. A lot of resources placed onto him. He soaks in every single damage from the crossbow tang, and that's going to be Taz caught very low. Still able to dash in with the Rhythm of Joy. That's Brands actually locking Lutu in place with his go away. Lutu finding the kill, but will fall as well to the hands of Taz, who picks up a double. Psychots now onto T, who has the Divine Judgment, will be able to pull him back into the turret. Now Boom with Bravest Fighter is able to dish out some damage, but Psychots gets out with relative ease on that Benedetta.
Cambodia is getting some kills on the board, but they're allowing Taz to start to snowball, man. He is 3-0 right now. He has that genius one, and he has built the Oracle very early on. It means less damage for him, but it also means that Deja as well as Tai cannot actually burst him down as reliably as they would like, and it's only going to get worse from here on out. He is already very tanky, and with the steel leg plates, that is some very efficient itemization to ensure that the damage from OP as well as Lutu and Boom can be mitigated as well.
Here, again, it feels like Cambodia.
Sheesh! Sorry, my bad.
It's okay. There's also a Kalas right there from Dream, so both teams just having fun, right? Even though they're competing here in the upper bracket finals for the grand final spot, it's great to see that both teams are still enjoying their time in the Land of Dawn. Cambodia, though, however, are 3,000 gold behind of Indonesia. This will definitely impact their next few fights if they do decide to commit and fight, contest, instead of trading. Boom has already started his rotation down to that top side. Deja going to be able to catch Psychots with the Petrify. Suppression as well with Divine Judgment. Taz wreaking havoc with the Rhythm of Joy. That's the Nunan Blast placed in as well. Popped in. T going to be caught, but it's only the Roamer taken down for the XP lane. Lutu and Boom still relatively untouched. He gets the stun onto two members, but the real world manipulation is still there. Taz again jumping, weaving everywhere. Has the electrifying beats, but will not choose to use it just yet. They'll choose to go for the Lord now. 1 for 1, it still stands, but it's still Indonesia with more control.
Indonesia has more control, and they are trying to use it to bait in more kills. Lutu goes in 1v3, but he will be forced to back away, and Indonesia is not risking any 50-50 in this retribution battle. They're waiting for the right moment, and they have a structure taken on the other side of the map just for good measure. Now, with Hijumi having a glowing wand, the poke damage is going to get very, very much worse for the side of Cambodia, and that will pressure them into making these reckless engages, and perhaps that will allow Indonesia to punish it even more. As you can see, Cambodia very intent on getting this Lord.
Top lane, tier 1 going to be target T, looking for that Divine Judgment, but a perfectly placed go away is there. Taz, again with the Rhythm of Joy, soaking in so much damage, but will be caught in the Petrify. That's a shutdown over to OP, who's going massive now. Has the crossbow tang, just one more weakness point onto Dreams, but OP gets poked back. Falling back now, Dreams is looking for it. Psychots with a Petrify onto 2, and the final blow finds OP. It's absolutely amazing for Psychots, but the crossbow tank given over to OP, who's still able to convert it onto Dreams. 2 members falling once again. Cambodia have risen again. It's a 3-for-1.
It's a 3-for-1, an absolute disaster for Indonesia. Taz got shut down by none other than OP, and that's a huge gold swing as the Indonesians go in for another fight.
Brands trying to do what he can here. He's going for the steal, but will not be able to find it. The go away and the Wind of Nature popped in, but he's going to be petrified. And you can't Wind of Nature. The damage from that Kadita magic penetrating through, and Brands taken off the board.
That's a 2v5 essentially for the Indonesians. Very, very reckless. And it seems like they're losing control in this game right now. They certainly are not expecting the difficulty for Taz to actually take control of that game. We questioned if Cambodia has a solution, has something in the pocket. That is what they're showing right now. With the Lord pushing in, Cambodia goes for the jungle control as well, and the Indonesians are struggling to keep up.
Taz, he needs to be a bit more disciplined with that Rhythm of Joy. Last time he jumped in and got caught in the Divine Judgment. That led to Cambodia getting a good fight. Concealed play. T flickering forward. Not getting anyone, but that's going to be the Joy. Targeted down. Taz out instantly now as Lutu is able to disengage. A good stun from Boom to once again help the rest of the members to back off. It's another 1-for-0, Rashi. And Cambodia, it feels like they're one step ahead.
It seems like now that Joy pick is actually harming the chances of Indonesia because Taz keeps going in and overestimating the flexibility, the power of this Joy, and Cambodia is absolutely punishing it. If they take it slow, Brands as well as Hijumi has enough damage to start poking around to pressure the members of Cambodia. There's a lot of physical defense being built, but Hijumi with the glowing wand ready right now can actually poke them down before Taz goes in to secure those kills. So I think they have to be more synergized in how they want to approach these fights, because right now it seems like it's very disconnected. We're seeing a lot of fights from Indonesia without the whole team, the 5 members at the same time.
Cambodia. We questioned their decision not to ban the Joy, but right now it's working to their favor as T opens up the map, forcing Dreams to back off. Indonesia zoned away from their own jungle as the orange buff will be claimed by Cambodia. Again, it feels so tough for Indonesia currently because Cambodia have such a good kite back composition. They can kite back, they can even engage now. And that's what we mentioned earlier, right? This pick style of composition that Cambodia opted to go for and kept on building towards. It really is looking super strong right now.
Especially because early on, Indonesia has their own pressure, so Cambodia cannot synergize, cannot set up for these big ambushes. But now with the tides turned, with the gold lead in the hands of the Cambodians, they are all over the jungle of the Indonesians. The Magic Sentry will expose them for now, as Brands has picked up this Demon Hunter sword, allowing him to maybe be a bigger thret toward the tankier members.
Ooh, that was such a risky move by Taz. Man, he dashed towards T on the Kaja. But he knows exactly what's going to happen there. He knows that T won't be in range after he uses the Rhythm of Joy. But it's just pretty stressful for me to watch.
Again, very aggressive moves. That's not quite necessary for Taz, so maybe this is just his character, his killer instinct, his mechanical skill wanting to be used, but now Psychos is being targeted.
Uh-oh, Psychos going to be caught, doesn't get the eye for an eye, but he gets the Petrify. Now the final blow as well, caught! No crossbow tang used just yet. Indonesia decided to look for a trade here on the Lord. Look for Retribution. Taz gets it, but he's going to be caught there. Brands with a brilliant disengage. Crossbow tang still ready. OP pops it in. Winter Truncheon by Taz now. Caught in the midst of it all. Jumps in. Back and forth once again. Taz gets out. It's a good trade. Psychots traded in for the Lord for Indonesia to stay in this game.
Wow, that mobility, man, is just so tough to deal with. Cambodia, with 4 members, were unable to get that pick up onto Taz, and now Hejume has built a Winter Truncheon as well, so the dive is just less effective.
Uh-oh, Dreams caught Taz doing so much damage. Taz is absolutely a monster here. He's still able to survive, buying so much time, and it's a 1 for 0, 1 for 1 here. Everybody's low, 2 for 1, as that's a kill taken by Brands. 2 members low from Cambodia. The Enhanced Lord marching top. And it does seem like we're going to get a replay here, Hirashi. What happened in this team fight?
Cambodia going for the aggression, crowded around together, and the AoE coming in from Hejume is something that they are not taking into consideration. What? They get very, very low, but now another fight is breaking up in the bottom, in the actual real game time.
Hejume, apparently, a bit too aggressive, overstepping his boundaries there in the enemy jungle. But it's all good for Indonesia still. Even though they lost Hejume, they were able to find a few trades on the board. Tier 2 in the top lane, mid lane, and even in the bottom lane, equalizing the turrets here for themselves. But the Tier 2 hasn't fallen in that bottom lane just yet.
I'm questioning a bit how the Winter Truncheon is the option that Hejume is building for, because I think even if he does survive with the Winter Truncheon, that means that the whole roster of Cambodia will be on him when he gets out of it. I thought he would opt for something a bit more kite-orientated, but now he has that double wand combo along with the Divine Blade. That's more than enough damage, and he will be one of the main targets for the side of Cambodia. But keep in mind, Cambodia are just stacking up that magic resistance. 2 Radiant Armors already built, Oracle for Boom as well. That will mean that the bulk of the damage will need to come from Brands and Psychots. We'll have to see, can that win condition be completed, achieved by the Indonesians?
Well, they're already popping that Conceal. Dreams looking for the plays, opens up the map. T there, doesn't choose to go for the Divine Judgment just yet. Deja gets out with the Odyssey. Ludu still soaking in a lot. OP, Psychots trying his best to look for it. Psychots tries to cut the wave there, but it's not going to be able to happen. T gets a Divine Judgment, but Psychots once again is going to be able to jump in. Winter Nature popped in by OP, who's going to be massive here. Has a lot of room to play with. Boom jumps in, Brands gets stunned, but has the Winter Nature. OP still in the back line, still hitting. Has it, having the crossbow tang. Will try his best to look for all the weakness points, but it's going to be reset once again as Taz finds the shutdown onto Lutu. Cambodia on the back foot. 2 members alive. For Indonesia, it's just Psychots who gets taken down. OP once again trying to make the miracle play happen as he looks for the crossbow tang. He finds it. Dreams gonna be taken down. Taz as well, but a Winter Truncheon is there for Taz. Didn't know last, but OP is still kiting, still saving Cambodia from getting the amazing defense.
Boom, now chasing for a kill. Real Winter is being popped, but the OP will be there to zone them all away. And this is the story of the game right now. If Indonesia can get pickouts of their own, they have an advantage. Let's take a look at that replay once again. Cambodia going in aggressively, but then being counter-engaged, and Psychots and Taz diving towards the backline, zones everyone away until Boom comes in and OP realizes there's a chance here. He goes back in for the outplay, gets that crossbow of Tang, and that is how dangerous Cambodia is, even on the back foot.
Oh my god, that was a 2v4, and OP continues to surprise us from last 2021 MSC to now. They're able to find the Lord because of that play, that defense that went so well for them. They punished Indonesia, all on the back of OP in the late game. Even up against Dreams, when he popped that shield, he was able to maneuver away behind the shield.
This is why this composition is so dangerous. Every single member, every single hero on the side of Cambodia can make the plays happen. Whereas for Indonesia, it's about unity, it's about synergy, playing as 5, because otherwise, alone, the Yves, the Lolita, the Melissa, they cannot make these plays happen alone. Even Taz right now is being completely countered. They need to play around each other and get that united team fight to get that victory.
18 minutes in, this is still an enhanced Lord though that Cambodia took. They couldn't risk waiting for that 18-minute mark for the evolved Lord to spawn. It's them now trying their best to micromanage the waves. Taz, very risky play again, walking in front of that Kaja. T has been absolutely solid with his Divine Judgments. Both teams are opting to play it still very slow, building those waves up for Cambodia to crash and siege.
Not to mention, T has the flicker, so beware of that flicker Divine Judgment combo. But here we go, Cambodia sieging away, and look at T.
T looking for it now, gonna get stunned up. Not able to find a Divine Judgment. That's the Petrify onto one member. Deja is the only one caught there. The real world inflation instantly cancelled out, and Indonesia opts to clear out the Enhanced Lord first. Bottom lane gonna be targeted here. That's gonna be an amazing, amazing winner structured by Hijime to escape from the Divine Judgment threat. Lumina Blast now onto one member. It was dodged away by Lutu and Boom, who's now caught in the base. Immortality still available. 1 for 0 right now for Cambodia. Boom, getting out. Taj jumping in, looking for some damage. Not able to connect on the second Rhythm of Joy, and Cambodia will try their best to look for another push.
Hijime has the Holy Crystal, so that's a lot of damage. He is the main wave tier 2 right now, but Cycles goes in.
Final blow used up. Deja gonna be caught there, but still is able to run away with the oddity. Cyclops gonna be taken down. The crossbow tang, massive. OP is absolutely overpowered. The real world manipulation and desperation. Boom, gonna be caught. Immortality's popped in. Lutu looks for the base, and Cambodia gets the first game in the series. Another massive victory for Cambodia.
We said Joy was OP. We said the team that has Joy will win the game for sure. Cambodia says no. That is not the case at all. We have the answer.